The Declaration of Independence isn't the only thing that John Hancock accomplished. Not only did John Hancock sign the Declaration of Independence, he also fought in the Revolutionary War. All people have a story. John Hancock's story starts when he was a little boy. When John was little, he moved in with his uncle. He lived in a huge house closest to a stone called the Wishing Stone. John's house had many windows in the front and also had many rooms inside. He also had a house twice the size of any other boy he knew. The Wishing Stone was a very important rock in John's neighborhood. There were always little children playing around it. One of those little children included John. If you wanted the Wishing Stone to work, you have to run around it 9 times, stand on top of it, and make a wish. Some say that John had so much luck because he ran around the stone so many times. When John got older, all he wanted was for people to like him. They say it wasn't hard to like him. He was nice-looking, friendly, kind, generous, and always threw good parties. I think he was kind of full of himself. He wanted to be at the front of all parades, to sit in the seat of honor, to stand in the center of platforms. He wanted to be the center of attention. He wanted to be noticed, and to be noticed, you have to stand out. John always dressed in his nicest clothes, even as a boy. John loved lace. There was lace draping from his cuffs and dangling from his front shirt. Sometimes his uncle questioned his extravagance. He once scolded him in a letter. John then wrote back, "I am not remarkable for the plainness of my dress, and I can't say I'm without lace. I find money, some way or another. It goes very fast." He wasn't lying when he said that the money went very fast. John always had money, but when his uncle died in 1764, there was more money. He inherited all of his uncle's fortune at the age of 27. In 1764, John was the richest man in New England and the second richest in America. John was getting noticed even more for his money. Samuel Adams sure did notice him. This was the time that England started causing issues with the Americas. At this point, Samuel Adams was ready to knock England right off the map. Who could be more helpful than John Hancock, he thought. He has a lot of money. John and Samuel became good friends. He took John to meetings, put him on platforms, and saw that he was elected to the first public office. John thought he needed a servant to help him dress. He went to London and came back with Frank. Frank kept all of John's clothes clean, his wigs curled, and he made sure all John's clothes were always in style. Every morning, Frank would ask John what he wished to wear. After John was dressed, he would go down to his warehouse where his ships were loaded and unloaded. He held interest in 20 ships. When his ships sailed out of Boston, they carried whale oil, whale bones, codfish, and lumber. When they came back from England, they carried cloth, tea, paper, hardware, books, furniture, ribbons, buckles, fans, wine, salt, leather, swords, and news. 1775, the news was bad. England had enacted the Stamp Act. They had put taxes on things in 55 different ways. The Americans thought this was unconstitutional. They thought this because they had always managed their money in their own assemblies. They were all furious, even John. He said that there was nothing or no one on earth that could make him pay a penny for those darn taxes. Next year, in 1776, the news brought back from England was good. They had repealed the Stamp Act. The news was brought in Boston by John Hancock's brig, the Harrison. He announced it to the public. John thought it was such news called for celebration. He put up flags in his house and piled his table full of food. The townspeople gathered in the commons, and for those who couldn't fit in the doors, John rolled out a 126-gallon cask of Madeira wine. Then he set off fireworks, getting great cheers from the people. John was so popular that he was one of Boston's 4 representatives to the Massachusetts governing body. When John went out, he rode in one of his 9 conveyances, a coach with 4 wheels, and his coat of arms emblazoned on the side. All of his conveyances were painted yellow. Sometimes boys would run alongside his coach. John would stop to give them coins. He loved to give presents. He would give wood to the poor, steeples to the churches, and books to the libraries. He still didn't think he was getting enough attention, so he often gave a gift to the town. Even after the town gifts, not everybody liked him. King George of England definitely did not like him. King George didn't like the way he acted during the Stamp Act, and when they tried again in 1776, John still wouldn't pay a penny. The king liked him even less. John was really mad when a person didn't like him, but he was even more mad when the king would reach all the way across the Atlantic Ocean to take money from his pocket. In Boston, the Tories, who worked alongside the king, wrote nasty things about John and drew cartoons of him with big ears and a donkey tail. John looked in the mirror enough to know those drawings were inaccurate. The cartoons made him madder than ever. In 1755, it was apparent that there was going to be a war between England and the colonies. By this time, Massachusetts had cut off all connection with England and had formed their own government. And who was president of this government? John Hancock, of course. The King of England put John's name at the top of the dangerous list of Americans. John wanted to be a commander. When elections came, John prepared his face for the cheers and huzzas that would come from the people. He never did any cheering, because the people had elected George Washington and Samuel Adams. He did get his attention back when a battle began. He went to the battle with huzzas, but nothing went right. The cannons gave him a headache, and he forgot his favorite pair of boots. He wanted to feel like a hero, but that was hard when he was wet from rain.